Hello everyone and welcome to the lecture on AWS CodeCommit. So this lecture will contain all these topics. What is AWS CodeCommit? Typical CodeCommit workflow, integration with other AWS services and AWS CodeCommit repositories. So what is AWS CodeCommit? AWS CodeCommit provides a secure and fully managed version control service, ensuring the safety and integrity of your code base. With CodeCommit, you don't need to worry about scaling your version control infrastructure. It is designed to handle growth and accommodate your team's needs seamlessly. CodeCommit makes it easier for development teams to collaborate on code, fostering a more efficient and productive workflow. By using CodeCommit, you eliminate the need to operate and maintain your own source control system, saving you time and resources. CodeCommit is versatile and allows you to store not only code, but also binaries and other project-related files, providing a centralized repository for your development assets. CodeCommit works seamlessly with your existing Git tools, enabling a smooth transition and minimal disruption to your current development processes. So in short, CodeCommit is a direct competitor and replacement to GitHub. If you are using already GitHub, you can continue to use other AWS services like code build, code deploy. But if you are starting from scratch, you have the option to use CodeCommit as your primary version control system. So AWS CodeCommit workflow from local to remote, a typical workflow. The workflow starts on your local development machine where you use Git commands like git clone, git add, git commit and git push to interact with CodeCommit repository. You can create a new CodeCommit repository using the AWS CLI or CodeCommit management CodeCommit console, which initializes the remote repository. The CodeCommit service manages the remote repository, handling requests like creating the repository, receiving push request, updating the remote repository and sending repository updates. After cloning the repository, your local repository is synced with the remote repository. You can make changes to your local files and then use git push to send those changes to the remote repository. When you do a git push, your local commits are sent to the CodeCommit service, which updates the remote repository with your changes. If there are updates in the remote repository, you can use git pull to fetch and merge those changes into your local repository, keeping it up to date. Using the CLI or CodeCommit console, you can list your repository and branches, allowing you to view and manage your CodeCommit resources. So this is exactly typical what happens in GitHub also. So AWS CodeCommit integration and services. First one, AWS Amplify. You can connect your CodeCommit repository in the Amplify console. Amplify fetches an access token from the repository provider but does not store it on AWS servers. It uses deploy keys installed in specific repository for access. Second, AWS Cloud9, which provides a collection of tools for coding, building, testing, debugging, and releasing software in the cloud. This set of tools is known as AWS Cloud9 Integrated Development Environment (IDE). So basically the visual IDE on the browser. So herein you can directly integrate with your CodeCommit and you can directly push, pull, fetch, commit all directly from the IDE. AWS CloudFormation helps you model and set up AWS resources, including CodeCommit repositories. You create a template describing the resources and CloudFormation takes care of provisioning and configuring them. Fourth one, AWS CloudTrail. CloudTrail captures AWS API calls and related events made by or on behalf of an AWS account and delivers log files to a specific AWS S3 bucket. You can configure it to capture API calls from the CodeCommit console, CLI, local Git client and API. Amazon CloudWatch events. You can configure CloudWatch events to monitor CodeCommit repositories and respond to events by triggering actions in other AWS services like Amazon SQS, Kinesis, Lambda and others. Code Build. Code Build is a fully managed build service that compiles code, runs unit tests and produces deployment ready artifacts. You can store source code and build a specification in a CodeCommit repository and use Code Build directly as part of a code pipeline. CodeGuru Reviewer, which is an automated code review service that uses program analysis and machine learning to detect issues and recommend fixes in Java or Python code. You can associate code commit repositories with CodeGuru Reviewer for automated code analysis in pull request. Code Pipeline is a continuous delivery service for modeling, visualizing, and automating software release steps. You can configure it to use code commit repository as a source action and automate building, testing, and deployment. AWS CodeStar is a cloud-based service for creating, managing, and working with software development projects on AWS. It creates and integrates with AWS services, including code commit repository for your project toolchain and assigns permissions to team members. Elastic Beanstalk is a managed service that simplifies deploying and managing applications in the AWS cloud. You can use Elastic Beanstalk console or CLI to deploy your application directly from a new or existing code commit repository. AWS Key Management Service (KMS) is a managed service for creating and controlling encryption keys. By default, code commit uses KMS to encrypt repositories. Lambda allows you to run code without provisioning or managing servers. You can configure triggers for code commit repositories to invoke Lambda functions in response to repository events. Amazon Simple Notification Service (SNS) enables sending and receiving notifications from the cloud. You can configure triggers for code commit repositories to send SNS notifications in response to events and integrate with other AWS services like Amazon SQS. Okay, let's dig deeper into AWS CodeCommit repository. A repository is the core fundamental version control object in AWS CodeCommit, serving as the foundation for managing and tracking code changes. Repositories provide a secure location to store your project's code and related files, ensuring the safety and integrity of your code base. CodeCommit repositories keep a track of your project's entire history, from the initial commit to the most recent changes, allowing you to track and review evolution of your code base. You can share your repository with others, enabling collaborative work on a project and facilitating teamwork and code review processes. By adding AWS tags to repositories, you can set up notifications that alert repository users via email about important events such as code comments or updates. CodeCommit allows you to modify the default settings of your repository, giving you control over various aspects of your repository's configuration and behavior. You can create triggers for your repository that automatically initiate actions such as sending emails or executing code functions in response to specific events like code pushes or other repository activities. CodeCommit enables you to set up a repository on your local machine, which is a local repo, and configure it to push changes to multiple repositories, which provides flexibility in your development workflow. And that's all. Thanks for watching.